Chapter 24. Do not show off your knowledge in front of the Shaykh. In the presence of the Shaykh, there are certain disciples who do not hesitate to display their exoteric or esoteric knowledge. Know, may Allah count you among the people of good manners, that by this behavior you are only revealing your true reality and your great lack of manners. Understand that among the greatest breaches of decorum is to flaunt your knowledge over that of the Shaykh. It may happen that a disciple is overcome by a state that he cannot contain, which pushes him to describe to the Shaykh the miracles that have been granted to him. But this can have serious consequences for his wayfaring, his suluk. Firstly, this can lead to pride. Secondly, he can be deceived by his lower self into imagining that he has grasped certain subjects much better than his Shaykh. And do not think that this does not exist. There are among the disciples those who are convinced that they have surpassed the Shaykh. They imagine that they have reached spiritual stations that even their own Shaykh has not achieved. These are the ignorant and the incapable. O you who seeks purification, do not forget that one of the worst mistakes is to flaunt your knowledge to the very one who teaches it to you every day. Do not forget that before you met him, you were a perfect ignoramus. You were blind, deaf, and mute. Do not forget that this knowledge of which you boast only came to you through your companionship with the Shaykh. Remember that it is through his hands that the veils of heedlessness are lifted for you. Through your companionship and following of the genuine Shaykh, you will see in a way you have never seen, and you will speak as you have never spoken. How do you think you can attain any knowledge, and how can you hope to taste the purification of your inner vision when you constantly lack adab towards the friends of Allah? You represent but a drop of the Shaykh's vision. You manifest but a part of his own speech, and you want to claim excellence in the eyes of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, while you have not even realized it with his awliya. And what is true for sacred knowledge is even more so for profane knowledge, whatever that may be. Therefore, you must constantly be careful not to fall into pride by attributing any knowledge to yourself or by thinking that you know better than the Shaykh. You imagine yourself to be someone eloquent to the point where you think you have mastered rhetoric and eloquence better than even the Shaykh. Do you not know that he speaks to his disciples at the very heart of their visions in the language of his choosing? Do you not understand that he masters them all perfectly? Your problem lies in your picky hearing, this hearing that has remained a prisoner and slave of the physical world. It is because of its fault that you have remained focused on his mistakes in French, in the world of appearances, without understanding the subtle realities. Look at your state. You constantly claim to be able to converse with Allah, while you are absolutely incapable of even speaking properly to his friends. Yet, if you had truly understood the word of Allah as you claim, you would have understood the magnitude of the words of his beloved ones. Why is this? Because then you would have perfectly realized their importance and the very origin of their words. It is through this subtle understanding that you would have seen, growing within you, reverence for this source from which spring the secrets that reach you. This is how we recognize those who have reached the knowledge of the origin. You see them manifest the station of modesty, humility, and weakness. O my disciple, never forget that the light and the vision you contemplate each day come from your Shaykh. And it is not enough for you to simply announce it with your tongue, but you must also say it and realize it within your innermost being. That is to say, you must have absolute certainty about this, and you must write it in golden letters onto your heart. If you truly reach this inner and outer certainty, then you will see the manifestation of the light and visions increase within you. This is how to enter into the divine presence. Do not think that this lordly presence is made up of only simple words that run on the tongues. Indeed, it is a state that the seeker must taste. O you who seeks divine proximity, observe your behavior. When you find yourself sitting in front of the Shaykh, you try to show great adab, but as soon as you are alone, there is no trace of adab in you. This is not what is expected of you. The disciple should seek a state that is permanent in all circumstances. This is because the true seeker, the one who has knowledge of his knowledge and his states, knows with certainty from whom he receives what he receives. He establishes himself in the station of servitude and becomes like the simple subject in the hands of the king. Know, therefore, may Allah illuminate your heart, that if you are not clothed with these characteristics, you will be counted only among the people of sleep, those whose hearts are asleep, and to whom the divine presence is not destined. What then is the remedy for these beautiful speakers who spend their time jabbering their sciences in front of the Shaykh? They simply need to burn and disappear all this rubbish that is within them. The Shaykh will provide them with the lighter, the shovel, and he will invite them to burn the rubbish of the Zawiyah. Without knowing it, this is where they will find great meanings and understanding, if they are counted among the people of intelligence. But generally, this type of person, unfortunately, refuses these remedies, which are nevertheless true cures for these illnesses. They deprive themselves of decorum with the people of Allah, and at the same time, they deprive themselves of all the benefits they could have derived from it. The sincere disciple must work on himself and learn to educate his nafs through silence and ignorance. As Shaykh Abu Madian, may Allah sanctify his secret, said, "Hide yourself in your ignorance." Return to the state in the outward before the Shaykh, but not only then, also seek this state within yourself when the Shaykh is not there. As for those who pretend to exert efforts in front of the Shaykh and bray like donkeys in his absence, our words are clearly not meant for them. They are reserved for the people of the way who sincerely seek spiritual ascension. We will conclude this chapter by saying to those who manifest this lack that they must tame their nafs and subject it to silence and ignorance, both in the outward, the zahir, and in the secret, in the batin, until they resemble a beast whose only sound is the cry of the stomach when it is hungry. Shaykh Ibn Atallah Skandari reports in one of his hikam, in one of his wisdoms, "Know that he who is quick to answer all questions, who recalls and shows all the sciences in his possession, and who explains the unveilings he receives, only proves his ignorance." This because exaggeration in speech is ultimately a manifestation of the nafs, which loves to reveal to everyone the knowledge that is his. As for Shaykh Buzidi, may Allah be pleased with him, he concludes with the following supplication: O Allah, make it so that between us and our nafs there is a veil, that this veil always keeps us in your presence and prohibits us from entrance to this vain nafs. We can only reach this state through your generosity. Make us absent through your knowledge in the descent of your majesty. O Allah, make us wander in the ocean of your oneness. The one to whom you have granted a great blessing, you have indeed opened for them the door of knowledge and submission. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad kama sallaita wa sallamta wa barakta ala Sayyidina Ibrahim wa ala ali Sayyidina Ibrahim fil alamina innaka hamidun majid.